Greetings and welcome to the show. This is Nick Ashron's Lightworkers Guide to the Galaxy, and my name is Nick Ashron. This is a show about spirituality and lightworkers. Now, spirituality is based on the very simple concept and understanding that we are all one, and therefore we are all connected. What we do affects the whole, and likewise the whole can affect us. A lightworker is an individual inspired by this concept, chooses to be a positive and beneficial effect upon the whole by giving themselves in service to others, either as a healer or a teacher, or simply empowering people. Anybody can be a light worker if they feel inspired by these concepts. Now, each show I have a very loose theme for the show, and this week's show is about healing and empowering and other aspects of that as well, and I'm joined by a very wonderful, lovely lady.
Hello, Nick.
Ahlmeirah Ariel Hallaire. Have I said that correct?
Yes, you have indeed. Thank you.
A tongue twister for me. It's a delight to have you on the show.
Thank you for inviting me.
And your particular area of expertise has a varied variety of modalities, if you like. Do you want to give me a little bit of an idea of what it is you do?
Well, I do lots of different things, and it's all under the, if you like, the umbrella of what my business partner and I call the Center for Conscious Ascension. And basically what we're doing and what I'm doing within that is helping people to remember who they really are, much more than their spirits, their physical self, their human self, but also remembering their vastness, their spirituality, and reconnecting to that. And of course there are many ways of helping people to reconnect to that power that they are. Yeah? And one of the things that I do, well, that I spend a lot of time doing, is helping people to heal themselves, because of course everyone has, problems in their life, or traumas, or shocks from their past, and so on. And those things, when they're on top of each other for many, many years, they act as a kind of a veil to consciousness. So people don't remember who they are, literally. And so the healing process is a process of, peeling the layers off. And gradually, as the layers of trauma and pain and disappointment and grief and so on get taken out, people start to remember who they really are inside, and their power comes back, and their gifts come back. Yeah.
And is that part of the? There's a particular method that you brought through, wasn't there?
Yes, it's well, I use the healing method called Divine Healing Master Key,
That's the one.
Yes. Well, I can't claim full ownership of it. It came through a team of us, and I feel very, very privileged to be part of it. And basically, myself and the other healers on the team, we had this dream of coming up with a very simple healing tool that people could learn easily, and then they could go away and heal themselves. Right. Because of course, if someone is serious about their healing journey and their journey of growth, there's quite a bit of healing to do. And having to go to therapists and healers all the time, while it's great in one way, it's not actually financially viable.
Oh, sure, it becomes expensive.
It becomes extremely expensive. Yeah. And also, there's an element of empowerment in the sense that, okay, I can work on myself.
Sure.
Yeah. But of course, we now and again we all need a little bit of extra help. But hopefully, in the groups, people meet, like-minded, and then when they need some extra help, they can call someone up and say, "Can you hold the space for me?" Because we all need that.
Are you able to indicate roughly what sort of lines this process takes?
Well, it's exactly like I described. It's about peeling the layers, and it's a very, very simple form of healing. I really like simplicity.
Absolutely. Well, the most profound spiritual truths are very simple.
And it's based on the concept that you ask and you receive.
Okay.
So there are charts in the manuals for identifying what is the issue, or what is what needs to be healed, and then we just ask. we just ask that it be healed. So we ask higher self, and we ask the healing team, which is basically someone's personal group of higher beings in the higher dimensions who are there to help them.
Right, what people might refer to as their spirit guide helpers.
Yes, yes, which you know, can be made of all types of beings.
Yes.
Yeah, star beings and angels and.
Sure. Well, I draw them. So.
Yes, I know you do. Yes, and you do a beautiful job.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And do you also incorporate? Because actually, I had the privilege and joy that you actually did me a soul contract reading, which I found really fascinating. This is also a part of what you do, isn't it?
Well, yes, it's part of what we do in the Center for Conscious Ascension because, as you experienced, a soul contract reading gives you a kind of a map of your life, of what you're doing in your life in terms of your lessons, your qualities and talents, and also your goals, both at a physical and a spiritual level. And many people go around their life and it's like they're going around in the dark and they don't realize that actually it's all perfect. Everything is unfolding as it was organized by the soul prior to incarnation. And when someone receives one of those readings, it's a confirmation that all they're doing and all their dreams and aspirations, there's all some kind of coherence to it. It's not just some kind of blundering around, yeah? And it gives reason and meaning to, if you like, the seeming chaos.
Sure.
Yeah? And many people say to me they get a massive lift from it because it makes them realize also who they are a lot more.
Yeah.
And that's part of the reading. Yeah, like a reconnection to who
and
you
this
are.
is based on taking from your name, and then you associate numbers with those names. It comes, I think you said, from an ancient Hebrew.
That's right. Yes, it was
process.
It was channeled in the 80s by a man called Frank Alper, who unfortunately is now deceased. And basically, the soul of Moses came through him and channeled this system through him. It's a very simple method of reading, which is based on your birth name, and the concept being that sound is creative, which I'm sure you can relate to with your music and you know how sound has such a strong effect. And the idea is the name that the soul chooses, the full birth name, sets in motion a series of energies which will make the person's life. But of course there is free will within that. Yeah.
And of course, the question I said to you was, well, what happens if you change your name? And I like your description, which was like the original name and the energy that carries, you said, is like the cake.
Yes.
And then if you change your name, it's like an icing, which can either be beneficial or detrimental to the cake. Is that correct?
That's absolutely correct, yes. And anyone who knows and enjoys cake will relate to that.
Especially if it's chocolate cake, yes. So, yeah, because obviously I chose to change my name, and it was fascinating. I'm very fortunate that it actually enhanced the cake, didn't it?
Yes, it shows a very good icing. Yeah.
Now, of course, you weren't always doing this. You had a professional career as a conventional doctor, is that correct?
That's correct, yes, yeah.
So, tell me about, you know...
How did I transition?
Yes, yeah.
Well, I come from a kind of scientific background. My father was a scientist, and when I was growing up, I always had this desire that I wanted to help people. But I didn't know anything about spirituality, and there were no kind of alternative people in my family. Right. So the natural choice was something like medicine. Right. In fact, I wanted to be a vet first, but my father kind of said to me, well, I think you'd be better as a doctor. Right. So I became a doctor, but I had some input from one very special person in my life who kept sending me these books about alternative healing and spirituality and so on. And I was very, very interested. And I kept devouring these books, you know, that going off to the Philippines and becoming a psychic surgeon, all these amazing things.
You became a psychic surgeon?
No, but this doctor who had become a psychic surgeon. And it really inspired me. And the more I went through my studies, the more I became open to all these alternative ideas. And what I really wanted to do was to be an alternative GP.
Right.
Yeah.
Ambitious.
Very ambitious.
I mean, were you in France at this time?
No, I was actually in Ireland, because I grew up in Ireland.
Right, okay.
And but I was also doing my own kind of personal development on the side of my studies, because I knew I needed some personal healing. I had some issues that I needed some healing with. And while I was on one of these healing workshops, I had a kind of spiritual opening where my channel opened. I remember feeling like my whole spine opened, and this tremendous power came through me, and this sense of knowing, and this sense of spirit, and this sense of right timing came through me, and it was quite overwhelming. And these were all things that I had read about, but you know, there's a big difference between reading about something and experiencing.
Sure.
Yeah. And this spiritual experience turned my life upside down. When I came back to Ireland and resumed my practice, I was sitting in my GP room thinking, what am I doing here? And I couldn't continue.
Right.
I couldn't continue. It had been grating with me for a while, you know, the whole 5-minute consultation that ends with a prescription.
Yeah.
It didn't really sit with me because while I feel medicine has a lot to offer, for me it wasn't the right avenue, and I felt that I wasn't giving my best to my patients. Sure. And but I suppose the spiritual awakening had a big catalytic effect. And before I knew it, I had left medicine.
Right, so you just up and left.
I just up and left, yes. I rocked boat.
And then did you set up your own practice immediately doing alternative, or was it a bit of a struggle to kind of
Well, I had no plan when I left medicine. I had no plan and no savings, so I was I just sort of upped and left. And I think I was in a bit of shock for a couple of weeks, and also recovering from too much work. And I was sitting one day in a coffee shop, as you do, and I had this kind of, again, one of these downloads, and this certainty came through me. Yes, what I'm here to do is to do healing. And there was an enormous certainty in it, but at the same time there was a part of me was going, what are we doing? Healing? I don't know anything about healing. And I didn't, because I had no training.
Right.
I didn't know what a chakra was, you know, things like that.
So when did you start to find a way that you could apply the healing?
Well, actually, from this spiritual opening, there were some different guides were coming through me, and they were healing guides, and there was healing energy coming through me. So very quickly I realized that I could do that, and I'm a very intuitive person, so I could feel what they needed, yeah. But at the same time, I also did some training courses for the left brain part of me, who needed to know, you know, okay, I'm qualified to do this.
Right.
And I was very lucky that at the time I had a partner who was an acupuncturist, and he was a healer. So he said to me, oh, don't worry, it'll all be fine. And he kind of coached me through this transition of, from being a doctor to just living by spiritual guidance, if you like, which is a very different way of living.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
But you found you just took to that naturally.
Yes, I took to that. And I've realized that once you surrender to that, the universe keeps bringing to you the people that you need.
Sure.
So I had all the support I needed, and when I was feeling a bit, you know, frightened or discouraged, I would meet someone, or someone would call and reassure me, or, you know, there was always that kind of flow of support around me.
And was there still that scientific-y kind of other side to you still in the journey, where you wanted to see, well, there must be a scientific basis behind this as well? Was that ever a concern of yours, or did you just totally go with your intuition?
It's a very good question, but to be honest with you, I believe that for healing to happen, you have to go beyond the mind.
Sure.
And in a way, science is the realm of the mind. So it's not about putting science down. I think science is a wonderful thing, and it has its place, and it's done amazing things for humanity, and continues to.
Yeah.